Hello, welcome to this new Back on Track series. The song's called Insomnia, and it's a completely different approach to songwriting for me. I've never done this before. I've basically picked a synthesizer that I'm going to base my song on, and the synthesizer in question is this magnificent monster. Arturia's implementation of the Roland Jupiter-8, just the most amazing synthesizer. It's just fantastic. I've just been basically going through all the presets, going, yeah, want that one. Just like walking around the toy shop, just picking up all the toys off the shelf. And the idea is to build a song inspired by the likes of the 70s and early 80s synth music, predominantly Jar, but Vangelis, Tangerine Dream, just that classic, iconic late 70s synth sound. And so I'm fully investing in that synthesizer. I want it to do all the heavy lifting. And so the constraint that I've put on myself for this song, entirely arbitrary, there's no need to do this, but I've chosen to do it and it's fun, is to have the Jupiter-8, my guitar, my electric guitar. So that's basically got free reign for the more melodic, like solo elements perhaps. Pauline's vocals, obviously, and possibly Groove Agent, probably Groove Agent for some rhythm in the background. And that's it. No other instruments, not even a bass guitar. And so what I'm doing at the moment is building up a suite of parts that are ultimately going to make like a patchwork quilt kind of thing. I want to build a song that evolves and that has a very simple progression. So without further ado, this is the main synth line that's going to form the foundation of the song. Let's have a look at it. Now, there's a call and response kind of thing. The first half, up to bar 9, is this pattern. It's a four bar pattern repeated. And then we've got a response. And now we start bringing in other instruments. So I want each part to be fairly simple in its own right. And so I can layer these things together, bring things out, bring them back in. And over everything there's going to be the guitar and vocals binding all of these sounds together. Bring the guitar line in. That's everything I've got so far. Now, I only started this a few days ago, so I've just been kind of feverishly laying these lines down. There's no structure at all. I'm considering using Cubase as a ranger track when I finally get to the stage where I've written all of my music. I'll give that some thought. But it seems like a perfect opportunity to... I've never written a song using the Cubase arranger, so I'm quite eager to try it out, see if that can work for me. Obviously, the guitars are right at the very beginning of their journey. I do have a second line here. If I take most of the other keyboard stuff out, they're both really, really simple, just laid down in the course of a couple of minutes. But I want to try to make them as melodic as possible. That's a flavour, a kind of an idea of where I'm thinking. No idea where the lyrics are going to fit. You know, that's much further down the line when I've started to come to terms with how the structure of the song is going to work. The what I'm calling the call and response section, the whole song's in G Phrygian, but in the second section, we're moving to a much more kind of C-centric pattern. So a quick look at the second half. So if it was G Phrygian, would that make it C natural minor? Yeah, okay. So here are all the, basically playing those 7 notes of G Phrygian. These are all the scales you've got available to you. So if you're fundamentally moving to C, then I would tend to call this second half C natural minor. That's the way that my brain would be working if I was playing a line over the top of it. Exactly the same notes, of course, but because you're basing it in a different tonal centre, it does have a different feeling to it. Of course, there's absolutely nothing stopping me adding extra parts on. This is the very beginning. This is episode 1. You know, I haven't written the song yet, but I want to show you this kind of prototype, you know, the genesis of the ideas. This Bubblehead, each of these tracks is named after the preset that it came from. Now, only a couple of the presets have actually survived intact. I am kind of tweaking and twiddling. I do know the Jupiter-8 pretty well. I've done a complete tutorial series on the previous iteration. Arturia updated the synth since I did the tutorial series, but I will put a link above if you want to go and check that out. So I do know this synth pretty well. The basic stuff, all in the main interface, is essentially unchanged, but they have messed with the modulation panels in the advanced screen. And for the most part, I'm really, really happy with the way it's laid out. It's incredibly intuitive and really easy to just dial in great sounds straight away. What have we got selected here at the moment? I mean, it's just really hard not to sound good. Fabulous. So speaking of Bubblehead, this is the first part of a thing that I was just working on this afternoon. Don't know if it's going to stay in its entirety, but it might be a bit overly fancy. All the other parts are really, really simple. They're very, very stable. And so I can move wherever I want with them, and they kind of let you twist them into whatever shape you want. But because I've been a little bit more kind of exotic with the mixing of notes in this part, it might be a bit much. So that's the current work in progress. And of course, every part has to fit with every other part. I want to be able to chop and change these things so that I can be do the alchemy thing where I just say 1 + 3 + 5. What does that sound like? And once I've got that basic structure, then the guitars go on top to make the more kind of lyrical melody style. And then finally, over the top of all of that, need to go the vocals. Don't yet know where Groove Agent lives in the hierarchy. It's not felt like it needs rhythm yet, but I'm sure there will be some. Just very, very subtle. We're not going to have kick-ass rock drum. This is not the place for kick and snare, but I'll find some sympathetic rhythm sounds that just fit nicely once I've worked out what the vibe of the piece is going to be. If you watched any of my stuff in the past, you know I'm fond of saying restriction breeds creativity. I think it's just enormously true and important to set those constraints for yourself, and it actually helps you, I think, be creative. I've got a completely blank palette with every sound under the sun. I just don't know what to do. But say you're only allowed to use the Jupiter-8 now, go, and suddenly, you know, I'm inspired in that direction. The synth wants to take me in this kind of, you know, oxygen sort of direction. It's like absolutely fine with me. Let's do that. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button. See you for episode 2. Thanks a lot for watching.